Hey guys, it's Alex C with TFP TV, and today's video is going to be 5 underappreciated semi-automatic rifles. Let's just kick it off with one that I was actually very surprised that people did not know existed, and that's going to be the Remington Model 8. Lots of automatic cartridges were actually invented specifically for this rifle, and it was one of the first commercially available semi-automatic rifles. It functions by a long recoil, so it's a little funky. You can see here that the barrel will actually recoil all the way back with the bolt. And Patrick was wearing his hat, aka a head-mounted brass deflector. But the gun was designed by John Browning, was a huge commercial success, and they made thousands of these and sold a bunch. So it's kind of strange to me that almost my entire generation was unaware when I actually posted a picture of this on the blog. And I thought I'd show it some love. We actually did a video on this, so feel free to check that out if you're interested in the Model 8. It was a lot of fun shooting this gun and rounding up that old ammo, but number 2 is actually going to be the 1941 Johnson rifle. Now, we've given this rifle some love as well in a field strip video. But every time I post it or post a picture or video or anything like that, everyone asks what it is. It does look strange with its unique potbelly magazine. It's pretty cool. It's got that nice barrel shroud and then a long skinny barrel, which is pretty unusual, especially in a military rifle. These rifles actually were not very rare. They made thousands of them. They function by a short recoil. You can see to remove the bolt to the rear. I actually have to lift it up and unlock it manually. If it was firing, the barrel recoiling would actually unlock the bolt and then allow it to move to the rear of the receiver. So very interesting firearm, really. Very cool. A lot of these served in the Pacific and very well. You notice the bayonet's a little dainty. That's so the barrel can actually recoil. On the top's going to be a Springfield 1903 bayonet. So the Johnson's bayonet was nicknamed the tent stake as kind of a joke, but they are kind of cool because they load via the side using 1903 Springfield clips. You can also top these off with individual rounds as opposed to an M1 Garand, which is hard. The barrel comes right out of there, making this gun potentially wonderful for paratroopers. I don't know to what extent paratroopers use them, but for sure for that purpose, it would be a very handy rifle to have. They're actually great shooters. They're pretty reliable, probably not as reliable as an M1, but for a reasonably early autoloader, they are pretty decent guns. The greatest legacy, however, is its multi-lug rotating bolt. The designer, Melvin Johnson, actually worked with Eugene Stoner on his AR-10 design. Now, next up is going to be another rifle that we've shown some love, and that's going to be the French MAS 4956. The 4956 is a brutally simple firearm, and to me, that's what makes it endearing. It functions via DI in its purest form. That's just gas slams into the carrier, which sends it to the rear and unlocks the bolt. We've done a run and gun with the MAS 4956. We've tried to load it with stripper clips, which didn't really work too well. But every time I shoot this rifle, I really enjoy it. 7.5 French isn't as hard to find as you'd think. Privy's making it now, and yeah, while it's probably not the most attractive rifle, they're very well balanced, they're very capable, very simple. Your controls are large, easy to operate even in winter conditions. You can see it's got a big nylon charging handle, big magazine release, all that. Also very simple. If you disassemble it, you're not going to lose a part. The firing pin is pretty much the smallest part, and even that's almost like a gigantic nail. I would recommend probably getting an aftermarket firing pin if you plan on firing commercial ammo, though. So next up is going to be the Swedish AG42B. These are also DI in its purest form. I don't know why these rifles don't actually get a lot of love because they are fantastic. I mean, they're very accurate. 6.5 Swedish is an excellent cartridge. I would recommend it for pretty much any North American game, but these rifles are very cool looking. They have a somewhat distinct look. Some people confuse them with an SVT-40, but they function very differently. They do have a tilt-locking bolt, but DI is different than the piston system. They load via 5-round stripper clips and can contain 10 rounds. Perhaps the greatest thing is this rifle's legacy. Its design was licensed to the Egyptians to make the Hakim rifle, and then later on the Rashid, which is basically a scaled-down version chambered in 7.62 by 39. We have done a video on the Rashid, and we will have a run and gun on the AG42B coming up, so look forward to that. I know I do, and shooting this gun is a lot of fun. Maybe it's my Swedish heritage that just brings that out in me, but realistically, anybody who shoots this gun really likes it, and I think it's a pretty cool looking gun. The controls are a little weird. Some people find them hard to get used to. You've got your safety mounted on the rear of the receiver, which is not that unusual, but to charge it, there's no obvious charging handle. You grab those nubs, push it all the way forward, and pull it all the way back. And then when you put it on fire, pulling it back releases the bolt forward, which will chop your finger off if you're not careful. So mind your fingers, and you'll have a good time shooting the AG42. So next up is a rifle that was just a day late and $1 short. It was designed by Dieudonné Save, and he's a very prolific arms designer who you might recognize as basically having been the successor of John Browning in Belgium. But this is, of course, the FN49, sometimes called the SAFN. Very historically significant. It was slated to really be something big before World War II. However, the conflict really stifled it from proliferating and becoming a more popular rifle. This example is a Venezuelan model. They came chambered in all sorts of different calibers and cartridges and whatnot, but they all function the same, and that's going to be with a wonderful short stroke piston, and they are tilt locking. They've also got a little dust cover, so it keeps the receiver nice and well sealed. A large charging handle on the right side of the gun, like an AK. An indicator that lets you know it is cocked, and then of course a safety that you can easily operate with your index finger. Now they do have a fixed magazine. I don't know why the detachable magazines weren't really, hadn't caught on yet or something in this in an infantry application, but they load via two 5-round stripper clips for a total capacity of 10 rounds. However, the most important thing this gun did was led to the development of a very, very important rifle. And that is, of course, the FNFAL. Anyways, guys, that's it for this list. I'd like to thank Ventura Munitions for helping us out, and I'd like to thank you for watching our videos. This is Alex C. with TFB TV. I'll see you next time. Hey guys, it's Alex C. with TFB TV. Really hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, maybe consider donating $1 or $2 a month to our Patreon account. It really helps us out, and it would allow us to keep doing what we're doing. Until next time.